Hello, welcome inside the Mind of Matt, and I'm back with part 2 of the Piper 3D printer. If you want to see, make sure you watch the rest of this video. Stay tuned. So as you see, I have a table full of parts. Some of them are donated, some of them are paid for, some of them somebody gave me money to buy some of them for. So I'm going to cover that here in a minute, but I would like to mention a couple of people that have helped out this far in the process. So let's take a look at what we got and who donated and do all that. So let's get a closer look. So I got some electronics, I've got some hot end parts, I've got some stepper motors that I had, but I got some lead screws. I could have sworn I had 2 lead screws here. Where did my other lead screw go? Why, what are you doing here? That rascal. Okay. Where was I? Whew. Okay. Now that we don't have to deal with that anymore. Okay, let's start out with thanking Chris Riley from Chris's Basement. Not only did he become a Patreon supporter, but he also threw me 50 bucks. And thank you, Chris. With that $50, I was able to buy some GT2 by 6mm timing belt and some GT2 timing belt pulleys, 16 tooth with a 5mm bore. I had some leftover belt, but I was also able to purchase the lead screws, which are 700 millimeters tall, and we'll talk about those a little bit later. So thank you, Chris from Chris's Basement. I'll leave a link in the description for his channel. And then next I'd like to thank Tim over at TH3D Studios. He and I connected and he made a massive donation to the cause here, including the motherboard, which is a ramps. He threw in a tough extruder, which is based off of the E3D open source design. Some stepper drivers for the ramps board, a MOSFET for something to do with the heated bed probably. I also acquired an Easy ABL auto bed leveling system, and of course that's part of the ramps. He also included a couple of the couplers for my lead screws, and he also provided the power supply, which I'll be using with the Raspberry hat, as well as a solid state relay for the bed, which the bed is the only thing that I don't have yet because it is going to cost me a little bit to get a 500 by 500 bed. But a couple of things that I've got to address right from the get-go as far as this part of the build is, now when I did my calculations with the lead screw matching up to the stepper motor and then coming up to this, I figure with the coupler in there, just space it out a little bit, it was going to be enough. But according to the designer, that I needed a 710 millimeter instead of a 700 millimeter. So he redesigned this top corner piece to compensate for a little bit of a shorter lead screw, which was a really awesome thing that he did, which to talk about the designer, he became a Patreon supporter as well. There's a Facebook group that he has been actually joined Facebook in order to become a part of the group and to help along and to share and to guide all the way through the build process, which is like a super cool thing to be part of. But anyways, I've got this guy I've got to swap out, and the other thing is when you're building this part is actually supposed to open to the front. So not only did I put these on the wrong side, but my lead screw's a little short, so I'm going to adjust it by that. But I'll leave a link in the description as far as all the sizes that you need for the build, as far as all the parts that I've used to this point, and links to where you can get them and everything like that. So I've got a little bit of assembling to do, so disassembling and then reassembling, I should say. But anyways, let me address that real quick and we'll go from there. Okay, got all four steppers on. The only one that I have left would be for the extruder, which I'm going to have to build at a later point. So I've got some belts to hook up and some other parts to continue, so I'm just going to keep building. So this is where the extruder will go. I do have to print out a mount for this. He did design something up. I will take a look at it and see what it's going to require to make any modifications to fit the tough extruder that I got with a volcano end on it. So Alright, next I'm going to attempt to do this lead screw. So I want to talk about this real quick. So let's go over to the Z motor. Now, the way this was designed, if you see that this nut is meant to be on top of this, indented in there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to reverse the angle of it and put it underneath so it's pushing up on this instead of pushing up on the plastic through the nuts and the screws. So in order to do so, let's get this off of here real quick. This portion right here is a little bit wider than this hole. So what I'm going to have to do is ream this out a little bit so that it fits this hole. Okay, we're a little bit closer to getting this thing done. Like I said, I still have to source the bed. Turns out I forgot the idler bearings in my list of things to buy, as well as I have an order for my 608 bearings that I'm still waiting for because they're coming from overseas, because they turned out to be really expensive at the local store. So there's Gonna be more to come. I'm gonna finish getting the electronics connected. There will be a separate video on the Raspberry Pi hat, so stay tuned. Make sure that you're subscribed. Hit that like button. Check out all the links that I have down in the description for all the parts that I've got, as well as you could buy me a cup of coffee, support me on Patreon, but make sure that you let those ads play. Keep on coming back, because there's going to be more inside the mind of Matt and the 3D printer called the Piper. Happy printing and be safe pouring.